We are thrilled that you're here today to celebrate our Home Together campaign. So, this campaign spans from April to May, and it pays tribute to our donors, our clients, and the heartwarming stories that unite us all. And today's event is part of a digital storytelling journey that celebrates the profound bond between pets and individuals experiencing homelessness. So our Home Together campaign, it really empowers our clients to share their experiences of receiving free veterinary care from the Street Dog Coalition, and it also celebrates the impact that our donors and that our board members have on our clients, and how we all really work together to empower our clients in more ways than one. And I should also add that our Home Together campaign culminates with our first ever big week of giving that's happening from May 25th to 31st, which is like 5 minutes from now. I can't believe we're almost at the end of May. And our goal is to raise $50,000 from our amazing supporters to continue our mission of providing free veterinary care to pets of people experiencing homelessness. So, if today's conversation resonates with you, please go ahead and click the link in our show notes to donate. And it would be remiss to not share with you that if you donate by the end of this month, our friends at Pretty Litter, a renowned health monitoring cat litter brand, will be matching all donations up to $15K. So if you donate today, you can double your impact. And I'm very excited about today's episode because we have none other than Hillary Wheeler, Dr. Hillary Wheeler, SDC's medical director, co-hosting with me. And we're also joined by two of our board members, Western Veterinary Partners is Doug McInnes and Stacy Evans of Elevet. So today we're going to be really engaging in thought-provoking dialogue with these amazing board members from the Street Dog Coalition, and kind of discover our coalition's critical role in preserving the life-saving bond between humans and their animal companions. So we're going to be sharing stories of resilience, compassion, hope, all that good stuff as we collectively advocate for the well-being of those often overlooked in society. So welcome to the podcast, Hillary, Doug, and Stacy. Woo!
You.
Excited to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. And I'll let Hillary kick things off with our first question. Go for it, Hillary.
All right. I love getting to start. So we know how amazing Dr. McInnes and Stacy are and what they do, but we would love our supporters to learn a little bit more about these two incredible individuals. So we'd love for you to tell us a little bit about yourselves and what inspired you to join the Street Dog Coalition's board, and how has your involvement impacted your understanding of the intersection between homelessness and animal companionship. So I'll let Stacy start and take it away.
Thanks, Hillary. So what got me interested in this whole thing is I'm very passionate about access to veterinary care, right? And prior to joining the Street Dog Coalition board, I worked with Elevet during the beginning of the pandemic to basically create the relationships and the strategies so that the then Elevet project could administer free veterinary care to pets of people in need. We're talking people experiencing homelessness, people who maybe just lost their job, from COVID and everything because of the shutdowns and the business closings following the beginning of the pandemic. And it was just amazing to do that. And we actually partnered with Street Dog Coalition back then, right? You guys were instrumental in helping us develop those strategies, to meet the need and everything. And then this opportunity came with Street Dog Coalition to join the board, and I was so happy just to continue that service to that, the need of because the access to veterinary care is such an important issue. I know also from working with Dr. Michael Blackwell, University of Tennessee Pet Health Equity Program, and his Align Care organization, that also provides care to increase the access to veterinary care for people who are in low-income households and so forth. And just to see that whole One Health approach and the importance of that. So when I learned about Street Dog Coalition, the opportunities, and what you guys do, it's you're treating the pets and you're treating the owners, and which is amazing. In fact, I remember seeing a video of this one person. I think her name is Melissa, and she has several cats, and you guys treated Street Dog Coalition helped her pets and helped her. It's like it's everything is like I think interrelated. Animal health is really public health, and it helps protect humans and animals. And I just love that about Street Dog Coalition, and that's a big reason why I joined.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, Doug, that's also a topic that's near and dear to your heart, as well as human-animal bond. So maybe you can share your insights as well.
Sure. So, yeah, so I'm Doug McInnes, Vice President of Veterinary Leadership with Western Veterinary Partners. And my story is maybe not unlike what you just heard, where I became involved with the Street Dog Coalition for a lot of the same reasons, as did Western Veterinary Partners. And for me, my personal story there and travels with the Street Dog Coalition kind of started with the AVMA and my position that I hold in organized veterinary medicine. And I've been very involved with the American Veterinary Medical Foundation and currently chair the development council for them as well. And with that, we look at all of the events that occur, not just in the United States, but worldwide. And I think my very first encounter was I knew something about the Street Dog Coalition. I knew what they did. But John Geller was instrumental there in the Operation Ukraine effort. And that's really was my initial contact with the Street Dog Coalition and just really moved with everything that was being provided there. And so our foundation at the AVMA did support the Street Dog Coalition and continue to be supporters. But that really opened the doors to, the depth of what really is going on in the United States with the street clinics and the support that we provide to both ends of the leash. And I would say for me, I'd back up just a little step, and that is growing up on a small farm and really passionate about animals and understanding that human-animal bond from a young age, and it's just stayed with me. And knowing that the times that we have or the needs that we have for veterinary care surpass any socioeconomic boundaries that any of us may have. And so with that, it's so important to provide the access to care, and the Street Dog Coalition does that. And so for me, it's personal, it's a passion. And then I shared that with Western Veterinary Partners, and am happy that we've been able to be, much like Elevet, a legacy sponsor that can kind of share and spread what we feel to people within our organizations. So that's kind of my why and involvement there, and will continue to be. And certainly, lots of other personal stories in my past that are there too, but that's the main one.
Oh, we'll dive into more. I'm sure we
Yes.
will. We'll find a way, won't we, Daria?
All right.
We always do. I don't know why that sounded so ominous, but thank you both for giving us a glimpse into, how you got here, what inspires you, and the big picture behind your passion and enthusiasm. And I think that, it's safe to say that our board members are each so uniquely different and have such an incredibly unique perspective when it comes to veterinary medicine. So it's just really great to have both of you here shining a light on your unique experiences. And it is, I think, worth mentioning that the Street Dog Coalition, while there are services and organizations that are similar in terms of their mission to the Street Dog Coalition, some of the stuff that we do is pretty different, if I do say so myself. So I'm curious to know, in what ways do you believe, and maybe we can start with Doug and then get Stacy's insight here, but in what ways do you believe that the Street Dog Coalition uniquely contributes to preserving the bond between individuals experiencing homelessness and their animal companions?
Yeah. So, great question, and I think it's all somewhat interrelated. But specifically, along to your point on some differences, I was involved with a street clinic that we had in our community. It was not a Street Dog Coalition event. However, I think it really highlighted the differences that the Street Dog Coalition bring versus some of the other clinics there. So this clinic was great. It's what our particular community was able to support, but it was more just preventive care. It was just more, hey, let's get some vaccines into pets. That is not where the Street Dog Coalition services end. We're really providing services to both ends of the leash, as we call it, and more than just preventive care. And it's not really just providing the vaccines that are needed, but other aspects of veterinary care for those that are experiencing homelessness that may not be able to provide it or get it elsewhere. Um, and kind of going into another story about my passion. At our community clinic, I provided some care to this particular woman at the time, and it really kind of touched me. And so well, it was not part of the clinic. I kind of like, here, hold on, and her pet needed additional care, and I wanted her to be able to provide that. So I had her come into our office, provided additional veterinary services that her pet needed, and she was so grateful for that. But little did I know at the time, but she was homeless as well, and I gave her kind of the leg up that she needed to make a change in her life. And I was able to connect her to other services that were outside of just her pet's needs. And that gave her what she needed to be able to eventually find a home. And I did employ her as well, and
Wow.
helped her along the way. And that meant so much to her and to me to be able to help people like that. That means more than anything. So that's my passion, and that, I think, is what the Street Dog Coalition is able to provide, is those additional services where maybe others may not. And, yes, I took that upon myself to do that. But if we're just showing up to a clinic and just providing vaccines, we're really not touching the full needs of what's needed in the human animal bond and for what the pets mean in our lives.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Doug. That's an amazing story. And
Yeah.
I love that that's something you were already involved in and had witnessed. I'm sure that was a big part of forming you and your interest in helping others in that manner. And one thing I know with Street Dog Coalition that I love is we're always about quality over quantity. So we are trying to avoid doing an assembly line. We're in trying to really have a point of contact with each person and have that opportunity to discuss their pet's care, educate them, and empower them. So, Stacy, we'd love to hear your thoughts on that too. We know you've had a lot of that experience with Elevet Project and the work you did. So please share whatever you would like.
Yeah, so one thing that comes to mind, in addition to what Doug mentioned, the One Health approach at both ends of the leash, would be the fact that it's free. Because other projects like Align Care, it's great. It's just that they have to pay something. You know what I mean? And then there are other, actually, prior to joining Street Dog Coalition and working with the Elevet Project or helping with it, I chaired the Animal Law Committee of the American Bar Association, we did a lot of the vaccination clinics that you talk about, right? You just vaccinate the pets. It was free, but that's it. And that's good, right? But Street Dog Coalition goes beyond that because it really, not only are the services free to the pet owner, but you guys or Street Dog Coalition actually educates people, which empowers them on preventative care, the importance of the preventative care, and the opportunities that preventative care, what that means for the dog and the human. You know, that could be the difference. The preventative care can be the difference. Let's say a dog or a cat is vaccinated. That could be the difference between that person being on the street or being at a homeless shelter, because some of these shelters will not allow any pet in there, the few that do allow pets, unless they are vaccinated. So that could be a life or death situation. You know, someone's on Skid Row, that's a very dangerous area. I mean, there are women and probably even sometimes men who are raped, you know, and out on the street, and they need their dogs to protect them. And God, if their dog were vaccinated, they may be able to get off, you know, away from that area in a shelter that's a lot safer. And I love the advocacy work that Street Dog Coalition does, right? To educate people and advocate that, you know, more shelters that allow pets are needed. It's just it's a win-win. You know, it gets people off the street. It provides a safer environment for their pets. And I don't know, just having pets around, let's face it, it reduces stress. And it, you know, they're just so great to have.
Yep. In fact, I'm petting my 16-year-old cat right now because she decided to wander in here, always at the most inopportune moments, but maybe she knows that it's going to help me too. But yeah, and this is what we love about the podcast is both of you actually kind of jumped right into one of the topics we were going to talk about, which is how we can not only help the animals, but help their guardians by empowering them. And the example Doug shared, the example you just shared, Stacy, I'm going to add my most recent example of that. We had a street clinic last Sunday in the Bay Area. I'm still the volunteer team lead for our local team. And a woman was there with her dog, a big, burly, adorable pit bull. And she is 7 months pregnant and she's on the streets right now. And she was explaining that not only does her dog provide a lifeline for her, but also protects her and makes her feel safe, because it's a very dangerous place to be when you find yourself unhoused. And her dog, unfortunately, was having a lot of health issues. We were so happy to be able to help with that. He had ear infections and skin infections and has what we call atopic dermatitis, which is an allergic dermatitis. And you can imagine these dogs are living on the streets. They have exposure to all the pollens, all the allergens that we see, especially here in California. Zoetis, actually, one of our more recent supporters, had donated some of their products, including an injection of a monoclonal antibody called Cytopoint that we know can help stop that itch cycle and give an animal relief. So usually that would be a several $100 treatment. We were able to provide that for free, treat his ears. I pulled her aside after, kind of like you, Doug, in your story, just to talk with her. And I could tell she was distressed. And she was in a situation where she needs an ESA letter to show her dog is an emotional support animal. Many housing communities will not allow pets, period. And those that do often require that letter. And that letter has to come from a human health practitioner. And then therein lies the rub, right? How do people get access to that type of care so they can get a letter that allows them entry into safe housing? And we're fortunate enough with the Street Dog Coalition, we have contacts and we have partnered with individuals that are willing to work remotely with the people that we see and get that information and provide them with that letter if needed. We were so lucky in the Bay Area. We've done some recent fundraising. I made the spur of the moment decision to book her a room at a local motel that did allow pets, because she just needed a few days to reset and to shower and to be safe and to just spend time with her dog. And let me tell you, the last 3 days while I've been at work and everything's chaotic, she keeps sending me pictures of this dog living his best life, laying on this bed, absolutely enjoying the air conditioning that they have. And it's giving her time, which is what she needed to get what is required to be able to get into a safe housing situation that allows pets. So that was my moment of not only caring for the animal, but empowering that person to be able to just get the resources that they so desperately need to kind of get a fresh start and move on from there. So that was my share. I knew Dario probably knew I was going to do that, because I always like to jump in with my own experiences. But
Love it.
yeah, and thank you both for sharing what you've seen, because I think that embodies what we do with the Street Dog
Yeah.
Coalition.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Hillary. I think, in addition to giving this client some time, you've also offered this individual peace of mind and an opportunity to really just unplug and take a breath, which I think everyone deserves, but not everyone gets. So to connect this individual with something that they are more than deserving of, I find very inspiring, and I know that I'm laughing right now because my cat is, you can't hear this, screaming. I'm hoping with enthusiasm. I have the noisiest cat ever, and I know that Zoom does a great job at filtering out my cat sounds, but she is just like screaming bloody murder. She's very excited about these stories, and she also finds them inspiring. And I really feel like, this is the direction that we're moving in as an organization. Not my screaming cat, but this ability to kind of go above and beyond and think outside the box, color outside the lines, and assess the needs of an individual on a case by case basis and try our best to go as far as we can to ensure that this individual and that individuals similar to the individuals that each of you have mentioned have what they need, even if it's a little bit different than the services that we usually provide. And I think that's a great segue into our last question here, which is looking toward the future. What initiatives or goals does the Street Dog Coalition aim to pursue to further advocate for the well-being of unhoused individuals and their pets in our communities? And I'll let whoever wants to take a stab at that first to grab it.
I think one of the things I think we've spoken about is even strengthening the whole One Health approach. Yeah, partnering with more organizations. Developing those relationships maybe with a caseworker, social worker, to find out what the needs are, and just to continue strengthening our collaboration with the people we work with, right? Because it's not just, we don't operate in a silo. It's really about partnership to make this type of thing work, because there are many moving pieces, and Street Dog Coalition does that very well in the US and also in Ukraine.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and I would echo that as well. It's we all might define one animal health a little differently, but like in this case, the human animal bond is a huge component of that, and really, as Hillary mentioned too, understanding the individual coming in and taking the time to understand them. And I think that's what's oftentimes missed with a lot of groups and efforts, is the understanding piece, and not making them a number, and really helping. And it does take a village to make this all work. And so I think towards the future, yes, it's partnering with a lot of others to make all the efforts that we do successful.
Yeah. And, everyone probably has heard this by now, but one of our core values at the Street Dog Coalition is that unbridled collaboration that we know we need in order to be able to make a positive impact on the lives of these animals and their people. And that's our hope, as you both referenced, is to expand the One Health version that we take with Street Dog Coalition, which is taking care of lives on both ends of the leash, providing resources, allowing people the opportunity to be seen and heard, and making sure others through advocacy really understand that it's not just about providing housing, it's about providing housing for people and their animals, because if they are given the choice to stay on the street with their animal or take housing and give up their animal, they're going to stay on the streets. And so we need to make sure people understand just how powerful that bond is, but also how beneficial it is to them. Animals give them purpose. They give us purpose. They give us a reason every day to get up and keep going. They do health benefits like Stacy referenced, where they lower our blood pressure. We know that they help us produce more endorphins. They feel better. We feel better. They're giving each other a home, no matter where that is and what that looks like. And what we want is to provide a safe environment for that animal and that person to thrive. So that's what I look forward to working on together in the future with the Street Dog Coalition and people like Doug and Stacy on our board advocating for our work. I think we have amazing things ahead of us.
Absolutely. I just want to give a shout out to the veterans. I'm the daughter of a veteran, and with Memorial Day coming up, and just let people know that Street Dog does amazing work with our vets. A lot of them are dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. My dad is one of them. He was in Vietnam during the Tet Offenses, and he's helped counsel, veterans to help them deal with that. And I'm so honored to be a part of Street Dog Coalition. I mean, just the work that we do, and especially with the veterans.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Stacy, for layering that into this conversation. And Hillary, thank you so much for putting a beautiful cap on this conversation. I totally agree. I think that animals are what make us human. They really allow us to connect with our humanity and to see the best in others and to find a sense of peace and calm, and in the lives of our clients, consistency when it comes to affection, when it comes to loyalty, when it comes to compassion, that oftentimes individuals like our clients and individuals like us, just don't really find elsewhere. So I really appreciate each and every one of your perspectives today. This conversation is, I think, one of our strongest that we've had to date on this podcast. And it really is because I think everyone who comes on this podcast, whether they are a volunteer, whether they are a client of ours, or a board member, you each have this really unique perspective on and connection to our mission. So I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Stacy, Doug, Hillary, always a pleasure. Just thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing a bit of your perspective. And I look forward to having each of you back to maybe talk about a particular subject that you're really passionate about, and to give us a bit of a progress update on the impact that you're having on the Street Dog Coalition and in the lives of our clients. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today, Hillary, the best co-host ever, as always.
Only because I have you. I have you to lead the way.
Oh, Hillary. And
No,
Hillary,
you.
I'm excited to see you in Austin.
I know.
And Doug
Coming
will
up, AVMA
Yeah.
shout
That's
out.
right.
Yes,
Doug
well,
as
Yep.
well. Stacy,
Yep.
will you be in Austin?
Florida. I'm in Florida. I am not. I won't be in.
Oh.
I will be in Portland, Maine, though.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
all right.
Great
I love
season,
that.
weather. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we will be thinking of you, and I'm sure you'll get some great pictures of the fun that we'll be having and the impact that we'll be making on the ground. So you will be missed. And Hillary and
Yep.
Doug, I can't wait to see you in person. It's going to be
Yep.
fantastic. And yeah, until next time, team, thank you again so much for
All right.
taking the time to chat. And thank you to our supporters and our listeners for tuning in today.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye.
Great
Take
to see
care, all.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.